Hello, guys. My name is Desmond, and I welcome you to my lesson for today, where we will be looking at your mathematics. As you can see over there, number pattern is what we'll be doing in today's lesson. So, ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very, very much important because what I'm about to say, it's massively, 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 massive. Hey, massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day out learning something new, it's a day wasted. By so saying, please, Batle, please, 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 please. Please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. Okay, for the last time, can someone just confirm if you are able to clearly hear me when I speak? And again, if you can see over there clearly without the screen being blurry. Can you guys clearly see over there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, 100%. So, what we discovered yesterday on yesterday's lesson, we discovered that we can actually study this chapter by making use of a standard number and again a total number of people staying in the standard number. So this is what I'm going to do quickly, Bantubakit. We do know very well that we've got a linear or arithmetic number pattern. We also have quadratic number pattern. We also have geometric number pattern. So these are the three types of number patterns that we'll be looking at. Tomorrow, we will be looking at series which will be a lesson specifically for grade 12s. But for now, everyone should be in this lesson as we discuss all of those. But please make sure to mute your mic, honorable member. There must be a button on your screen which says mute. So let's see. Now, let's try to discuss in summary what we've discussed since we started with this chapter. So I won't waste much of our time on that one. So let's see. We do know very well that under linear or arithmetic, this is the formula that we use. Tn, which is equals to A plus into n minus 1 close, and then we've got D. So let's try to discuss each of these terms. Tn, we said it is being used to calculate the total number of people staying in a particular standard number. Let's say, for example, we have 14, we have a 16, 17, 19, 20, and so on and so forth. So, obviously, you guys do know that this is term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. Instead of saying term 1, term 2, term 3, 4, we say stand number 1, this is stand number 2, this is stand number 3, stand number 4. Then let's say the stands stand number 1, stand number 2, stand number 3, this is the number 4. So the n represents the stand number. So this is stand number 1, step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. T is the total number of people staying in each stand number. So in stand number 1, how many people are staying in there is 4 people. So that means T tells us about the total number of people staying in that particular stand number. Stand number 2, 16 people in that house. So this is the stand. And then we know stand number 1, 14 people, 16 people. In number 3, how many people? It's 18. Number 4 is 20 people staying in that stand number. So these are the only 2 confusing parts when it comes to the questions. So obviously, we know that actually A, it refers to the first stand number. And then we know that D, it refers to the difference between the total number of people staying in whatever stand number minus the total number of people staying in the previous stand number. So that's why you say total number of people staying in there minus total number of people staying in, going to give that difference. So which is that then? So that means under a arithmetic or linear, we are only interested in knowing 4. What are those? Total number of people staying in the stand number, most importantly, the stand number. Also, we know that A, it refers to the first stand number, and then D refers to the difference between the total number of people staying. See the difference between the total number of people staying in 2 stands. So let's say that's all that we need to discuss under linear arithmetic. Quickly, let's discuss a quadratic. I just want to give everyone a quick background so that when we get to questions, at least we will try to sense what I've just explained. This is what we asked, and also what we discovered on yesterday's lesson. So I just want to make sure that if let's see, 22 there, 36 there, let's say we have 54. So this type of a pattern is what we call a quadratic number pattern, which is what I'm going to explain just now. Remember, under quadratic, we have this minus that, it gives us 6. We have that minus it gives us what is 10. That minus that is 18. That minus that is 18. So this is what we call the first difference. Now we together do the same to get what we call the second common difference. Listen carefully. The second common difference, the second CD. Why are we saying common? It's because we say this is the same as that, is the same as that, or this is equal to that, and this is equals to that. So now, what I said, its secret is that starting from that pattern there is what we call a quadratic. But quadratic is 2 in 1. From here, it's now linear. So that means the whole this is quadratic. But you can also look at only that part which you can treat as a linear, because we know that for a linear or arithmetic, from that you get the common difference. So just always remember that. Sometimes you might find that in case if you run out of ideas, you just need to remember that in a quadratic, you also have linear. So it's more like we start from linear, then we upgrade to quadratic. That is why I'm saying quadratic is actually two because quadratic and it's also linear. So now let's quickly talk about the general formula for this type of a pattern. So is Tn, which is equal to a squared plus bn plus c. Same explanation goes to this type of a number pattern. So Tn, it is being used to calculate the total number of people seen in whatever the number. So if a question is calculate a T3, T3. So it's more like saying, what is the total number of people staying instant number 30? Less than one step to the number 3. That is 22 people staying inside number 3. But when the question is a general formula which is Tn, it's more like they derive a general formula that can be used time the total number of people staying in any instant number. So that's why you need to represent your formula in a form of Tn. We say it's a general formula because with that formula, ever you see n, you must just substitute the stand number and it just has to give you a total number of people. Smaller, it's an automatic formula or a general formula. We will note that as we continue. So just always remember that if the question says Tn, it means an automatic formula, a general formula. But if they say T or maybe T47 or T whatever, just know that they should know in step number 3, what is the total number of people staying in there. But when it comes to a quadratic equation, a quadratic number pattern, you need to remember that you can also have this, that, and that. If you can have guys, how is it now? Can you see there and can you hear me?
Yes.
Guys, can someone confirm? Can you see there and can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear and I
Yes,
can see.
we can hear you.
Kabut.
Hear you.
Okay. In that case, I'll just have to make sure that I re-explain what I was explaining before I got cut off. So I was saying, if you can have this, that, and that, you can be able to answer any question related to a quadratic number pattern without you having all of that information, because all of that can be derived if you have a 1, 2, 3, because you're going to say that plus that, it gives you a number, and then you say that plus that, it gives you a number, then you say that plus that, it gives you that number. You say what is it, that plus that same number, it gives you that. You say that plus that, it gives you that. So it's more like it's a game. That plus that, it gives you that. That's why I'm saying, if you can have 1, 2, 3, you can be able to derive all of that. So there's a formula that can be equated to that, which is 2a. We say it is equals to 4. And again, this one, you say 3a plus b is equals to 6. And then the one which is equals to that is a plus b plus c, it's equals to that 6. So you need to know these formulas by heart, because it's not given on the formula sheet. So lastly, let me quickly explain a geometric number pattern, and then from there we'll try to have a look at the questions and see if we can discuss those questions using this story of total number of people and stand numbers. So under geometric, this is the general formula. Tn is equals to a r to the exponent n minus a 1. So we say r, it refers to the common ratio. Common ratio. It's more like the difference in arithmetic, but here we don't have the difference, we have the ratio. You know, the ratio is something divided by something. So let me quickly get my calculator. I hope it's not far. Sure. I don't have it close by. But maybe let me try to think of something. Let's say we have 2. What is 2 times 2? I think is 4. This, that is that. 2. And then let's say 8 there. And then maybe let's say 16. Let's say you are given this as a number pattern. So you now need to test if this type of a number pattern is linear, quadratic, or geometric. So normally I start testing in this order. I start to test if it's linear. If it fails, I test quadratic. If it fails, then I know it has to be that. How do I test it? I'm going to say this minus that. What is that? That is 2. What is this minus that? That is 4. What is this minus that? What is that, guys? Is it 8? I think it's 8. Okay, if it's 8, then let's see. What is this minus that? Can you see already linear has failed? Linear has failed because I did not get the first common difference. So now I'm testing if I'm going to find the second common difference. What is this minus that? That is 2. What is this minus that? That is 4. So Also, quadratic has failed. So now that it has failed, then I've got last option. Then you're going to say this divided by that. That is what we call the ratio. This divided by that. What is 4 divided by 2? What is that? I think it's 2.
2. 2, sir.
Yes. Then what is 8 divided by 4? I think it's 2.
2.
What is 16 divided by 8? Is it not 2? That is 2. So can you see? Now I'm 100% sure that I'm dealing with a geometric. So that means this is what we call the common ratio. I call it CR. CR4, the common ratio. Same story applies. Tn refers to the total number of people staying in that particular stand. So a general formula would be Tn is equals to. Remember, when you determine the general formula, you just want to have Tn, which is equals to everything in the form of n. So that means you need to find the A value and the R value. Then you need to remain with n. So it's more like you want to have your formula in a form of n. That is Tn. It's a general formula or an automatic. We'll just try to find a suitable name for it. But we can say it's an automatic because whatever stand number that we put on that formula, it's going to tell us the total number of people staying in there. So what is A? A, we know it always refers to the first term. So that means it's going to be 2. Be careful of something, guys. It's 2 which is going to multiply. So that is why you can either put that inside the brackets, or if you don't, you will put this one in the brackets being R. So that means you are actually having 2 into. What is your R? Your R is 2 to the exponent n minus 1. So that means under geometric is easy when you understand how arithmetic and quadratic works. So that means this is the general formula. This is our automatic formula. Let's try to test it. Someone tell me, if we have this as our general formula, how many people are staying in stand number 5? How many people are staying in stand number 5?
Two people.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
How many number of people, Tandy?
32.
32. Yes, I agree. So that means this formula tells us it's the general. So we just need to know in which stand number do you want to know how many people are staying in there. Then we just plug it in that formula. It's going to tell us. So similarly, if you don't want to make use of this formula, you just want to do like you do with a linear or quadratic, you'll obviously in that direction you multiply. When you go in that direction, you multiply. So that means you're going to say 2 times that, it gives you that. That times that, it gives you that. That times that, it gives you that. That times it has to be common. That times that, it gives you that. And then that times that, it gives you that. It gives you that. It gives you that. But sometimes they might say, how many people are staying in stand number 133? So you can't be doing that times that. That's why you use our automatic or our general formula to say in stand number 113, how many people are staying in there? Then you just plug it there. It's going to tell you. That's all that you need to no under geometric sequence. So now let's try to have a look at those questions sent inside the group. So remember, guys, for those of you who are attending my lesson for the very first time today, just be aware that this is actually a repeat of lesson that I've already done. But today I'm trying to do it differently because yesterday we discovered an easy possible way to deal with this chapter. So tomorrow I'll be concluding on this chapter, and then on Monday, that's when we'll be starting with functions. So I'm going to start with functions for grade 10s, and then Tuesday is going to be a master class. Wednesday, I'll see in which class I'll be. So just make sure to check the timetable. I'm just trying to open. Okay, there are the questions. Let me do these. There are the questions. Can you guys go to that first question with the blocks, those blocks? This question, I'm sure you guys saw this question in the group. So let's maybe have a look at that question number 3. Let me confirm. Do you guys see the question that I'm talking about?
So,
Okay. So remember, you can still use another device where you forward this question or all of those questions to the other device so that when I read, you're also able to see where I'm reading. So 3.1, it says the nth term. The nth term of a pattern is given as Tn is equals to 12n minus 7. Okay, based on our story, what are we actually given there? Are we given the total number of people? Are we given the stand number? Are we given the automatic formula? What are we given there? Guys, are you still there? Remember, guys, in case if you've got no idea, say no idea so that I'm aware you got the question. Lechumile, is it you speaking? Do you want to give it a try? Okay, so
sorry, I didn't hear the question.
We're given
So the
12
question
as
was,
the second difference.
so the question was, what are we given there? Are we given a number pattern? Are we given the total number of people staying in a stand? Are we given the stand number, or are we given the automatic formula?
We are given a formula.
Yes. So we are given that automatic formula that we can use to calculate the total number of people staying in any stand number. So 3.1.1 says, write down the first 3 terms of this pattern. So that question, does it want the stand number or does it want the total number of people staying in 3 stand numbers? What does that question want according to the story?
Please rephrase the question.
So the question was, when they say write down the first three terms of this pattern. What exactly do they want? Do they want the stand numbers, or do they want the total number of people staying in those three stand numbers?
The stand numbers.
Stand numbers, number one. Another one.
The total number of the people staying in those three stands.
Total number of that in those that. Okay, so write down the first three terms of this number pattern. Moleboheng, I just noticed something to say. Normally, the stand numbers, they will ask you to give the stand numbers if you are given a number pattern already, because we just know that we have stand number one, we have stand number two, we have stand number three, and then more stands can be counted. So in this case, they actually want to know the total number of people staying in the first three stand numbers. So that is why you are going to say in stand number one, how many people? Stand number two, how many people? Stand number three, how many people? So what is the number of people staying in stand number one?
5 people.
Someone is saying 5 people. Stand number two.
17.
Someone is saying 17. Stand number three.
29.
29.
29. I agree with that, honorable member. So, can you guys see? Write down the first three terms of this pattern. Remember, this thing, when it's written like that, it's more like we're saying term number one, term number two, term number three. So, you know very well that a nth term, where you see n there, can you see we wrote 1, we wrote 2, we wrote 3. That is why I'm saying n1, n2, n3. So now that's how you answer that question of write down the first three terms of this pattern. We make use of that formula to say in stand number 1, that, 2, that, 3, that. Moleboheng, remember to mute your mic, honorable member. So I'm just going to remove all of that. The question that we did was 3.1.1. Let's now move on to 3.1.2. It says, is 3, 5, 6 a term in this pattern? Is that a term in this pattern? Remember, in our story, a term refers to total number of people. That T always should remind you of the total number of people staying in a certain stand. So if you analyze this question, it's more like they're saying, is 3, 5, 6, is it a total number of people staying in that pattern? It's more like they're asking if there's a total, is there that total number of people staying in a particular stand number for that number pattern? So it's more like they're saying, is 29 a term in this pattern? An answer to that question is a yes, because you can see term 29 there is term number 3. So this one is somewhere there. And for you to check if this is a term, that means you can try to calculate the Stern number for this total number of people. Hamisa will tell you that if you can try to find the Stern number and you get a fraction or you get a decimal, then you know that Stern number does not exist that has that total number of people. But when you calculate and you get let's say 2, or you get 3, or you get 19, then you know it's a Stern number, because we said a Stern number can never be 0, can never be a fraction or decimal, and can never be a negative. So how do you then check that Stern number? You use that automatic. You say, do we have a total number of people of that number for that pattern? So if you take this to the other side, what are you having? I think is 63. Is it 363, which is
Yes.
equals to 12n? Then you divide both sides by 12, that cancels that, and then by 12, then n. Are we getting a normal number, or is it a fraction, or is it a decimal?
It's a
It's a
decimal.
fraction.
It's a decimal. What is that decimal?
30,25.
30,25.
30,25. So do you guys say, is there, no, is 356 a term in that number pattern? Yebo noma cha?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir. It does not exist.
There's a no and there's a yes. So
It's a no because it's a decimal.
it's a big no, because you are having either a decimal or a fraction or a negative number. You can never have a Stern number which is negative or a fraction or a decimal. The moment you start having that, then you know that that Stern number that has this total number of people, it doesn't exist for that number pattern. So what you can say is that this 363, it is not divisible by 12. It's more like you're saying it's not possible to divide it by 12 to get a Stern number or a normal number. So let's say if you say 10 divided by 2, it gives you 5. Then it means 10 is divisible by 2. It's more like 10 is dividable by 2. Let's say 10 divided by 3. It gives you a decimal. So that means 10 is not divisible by 3. That is why I'm saying with this question, you can say an answer to that is a big no. It's a no. Why? Because this number, it is not divisible by that. I'm not sure if you guys understand what I'm saying there. Does it make sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
quickly, let's try to move on to the next question. Remember, guys, what we are doing in today's lesson is just to try and check how questions are asked and how to interpret those questions. So,
Which
someone
grade is
remember to
this?
mute their mic. Someone is asking a question, which grade is this? I'm just going to assume it's someone who's not aware of what I call master classes. A master class is where all grade 10, 11, and 12 attend a lesson. So if you're in grade 10, you should be in this lesson. That's where we discuss all common chapters. What is it? Number pattern is to discuss all possible tricks and all possible solutions that you can apply to this type of questions, because it's a repetition in the same thing. So starting from Monday, you will check on your timetable. So on Monday, I'll be only doing a grade 10. I think Wednesday it's going to be either grade 11 or 12, and then a Friday it's going to be either 11 or 12. But on Tuesday and Thursday, that's when we'll be doing a master classes. So it's me trying to avoid explaining the same thing or limited information in some other grades, because the reason why some of you guys make some mistakes is because of forgetting some important information in previous grades. So okay, let's quickly continue. I'm just not sure if I need to. Maybe let me quickly redraw all of those. I don't think it's a big thing to redraw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're having that and that. And then here, 2, 4, 5, same thing. There, let me do these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we are having 2 of those there, and where else? There also, and there also. Same thing here, but 3 of those. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We are having how many? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2, and then there also that and that, and then there also that and that. Okay, this is what we are having. So they say consider the following a sequence of ease. We are having sequence of ease. So how many blocks are needed to make the next E? So it may be given in that format, but you will realize that it's actually easier if you convert those into numbers. So that means an examiner can give you a funny shape, but you just need to remember that if you can convert it to numbers, it's going to be easier to manipulate. Let's quickly do that. So we're having a how many blocks in the first E? I think I missed something to make it E. I need to add that to make it E. So let's quickly see. We're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So actually having 8 there. So it's more like it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're having 11 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we are having 14 there. Then you can still have whatever. So can you see, you no longer need to worry that much about that, trying to visualize how will that E look like. You just focus on the numbers. So remember, what I explained is that you need to know the type. After knowing the type, try to test what is it, if you need to get the difference or the ratio. After that, you go to the questions. This is the format. Whether you are in grade 10, 11, or 12, that is the format I used to apply. Pindi, I'm going to tell you this now to say The method that I'm using to provide the information in all of my lessons is the method that I used to get distinctions in mathematics. When I was in grade 12, I did grade 10, 11, and 12. All of those in grade 12. That is why it was very much easier for me to complete my matric around March. I did not struggle that much because I realized there's a connection in those three grades. Maths is maths. They just take something they taught you in grade 10, they add it with some spices in grade 11. Then in grade 12, they add it with some spices. But you need to make sure of those foundations. The information that you lost in grade 10 and 11, it's what confuses you in grade 12. So that is why I've packaged everything. I'm not doing what they are doing at schools. So that is why I always encourage you not to compare our lessons with what you guys are doing at school. It's completely different. We are mainly focusing on how exam questions are asked. So those are the tricks that we want to make sure that everyone is aware of, and also to show you how you approach exam questions. So now that is why I'm saying the type, that, and then that. Let's see what type of a sequence is that. I said I test if it's a linear. If it doesn't pass, I test if it's quadratic. If it doesn't pass, I know it has to be geometric. So that is the sequence that I follow. Linear, quadratic, G. So let's see. That means I'm going to say that minus that. What is that? What is that? Is it 3?
3.
Yes, it's 3. That minus that is also 3. So can you see already it passed? That means it's a linear. So I've got the type, I've got the difference, then we now go to questions. Let's see, how many blocks are needed to make the next E? So it's more like they want to know, referring to our story, what will be the total number of people staying in there? So you can either derive a formula or just say this plus a what will that number that you should add with to get to the next. You know very well that it has to be that because it is common, meaning it is 3 there. What is that plus that? Is it not 17? So that's another possible way in which you can use to determine the total number of people staying in the next stand number. So that means you've got stand number 1, stand number 2, stand number 3. You can then add by that to get to stand number 17. No, stand number 4. It's 17 people staying in there. 1 mark for that. So also the marks allocated, it shows that you shouldn't stress that much. So let's see, next question. Write down the general term, which is Tn, for the number of blocks used in each term. Anyone who can explain what actually that question wants you to do. The general term Tn. What do we know about the general term, or what do we remember the moment they talk about the general term or Tn? Anyone who'd like to give it a try?
In linear, we use Tn is equals to Dn plus C.
Tn is equals to
Dn plus C.
Dn plus C. Why do I not agree with honorable member there?
No, it's not that you don't agree with it. It's that the method they use is different. Because D will stand for 3 and C will stand for 5. And if you use it like in the previous like normal one, it's still the same answer. It's just a different formula, that's all.
Let's see. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to learn something new. So, Hamisa, what are you saying there? I'm not sure if you can quickly try to re-explain that. So you're saying D, it refers to the difference, nay?
Yes.
Okay, and I understand it has to be that N. Then what is D? What is C?
I'm not really sure how to explain it.
But
Our C it's 5. We say 8
Tandi,
minus 3. The first term minus the difference. Yes, sir.
yes, so I was asking, what is C?
Our C it's 5. We take the first term, which is 8, minus by the difference,
Mhm.
it gives us 5.
In other
So
words,
it's more like
depends.
D is 5.
No, D is 3. It's the difference. Then C
No,
is the
C
1.
it's 5, sir.
D, what is D? D is 5 or
The
3?
difference is the difference.
3.
Is
3.
3.
3.
Yes. Then N, and then what is C?
C is 5.
Our C it's 5.
And then how do you explain that C being 5? What do you say? You're saying is this minus that?
Yes.
Yes, 8 minus 3.
Hmm. You see, now I've learned something new, which is very, very much important. So let's quickly try to explore that in two different ways. Mo Lebogeng, this is what
Sir,
I've always known, that Tn is equals to A plus into N minus D, and then no minus 1
-1.
minus 1, and then we are having that. But look at what
Yes.
honorable members are saying. They are saying we can also say Tn is equals to what did they say there? She said
Dn
Dn plus
plus
C.
C.
Yes. So what we knew was that A refers to the first term, which is going to be 8, plus um, what is N is just N minus 1, and then D, we know that D is equals to 3. Then we work out all of that. So that means we're going to have 8, and then we say this times that times that. We end up having plus 3N, that times that, it's minus 3. Then we further simplify that, which is 8 minus 3, that is
5,
5 plus
3.
3n. So this is the general term, or the general formula, or that automatic formula. So let's see what honorable members did there. So they're saying D is the difference, which is 3, and then n is just n, plus um, C. C, they're saying you just say the first term minus the
The
difference,
difference,
and
yeah.
then you get 5. Yes, yes. And can you see how short, quick and nice that is?
I've learned.
Yes, yes.
I've learned also.
So, Molebogeng, do you now realize why I like master classes? Because these two honorable members, I think they are in grade 12. Suppose they are in grade 12. So that means this was only going to be discussed in a grade 12 class. Grade 10s and grade 11s were going to miss this information. So that is why I'm saying through these lessons, I'm also learning. I'm telling you, my next lesson on this chapter, I'm also going to make sure that I include that information. I've got Hamisa on my side, who's also able to remind me of other possible methods in which that can be explained. So, I think it's almost all of us, those who did not know, who learned the simplest way. And what I'm able to notice is that if you are only given those two numbers, let's say somehow a question says the first term of a linear or the first term of an arithmetic is 8 and the difference is 3. So, do you guys notice that with just these two, you can easily apply that formula to determine the general formula? Because you know the D is given, and then to calculate the C, you just say that minus that. Then you are done. Yes, yes. I like that one. So now, let's quickly move on to the next question. I think now I've already, let's see, what is that plus that? You guys said it's 11. And then when we add another 3 to that, is it, what is it, 14? Yes, 14. Okay, so now, next question. Calculate how many blocks will be needed to make the 100th E. How many blocks will be needed to make the 100th E? So it's more like it's more like they're asking what will be the total number of people in stand number 100, from what I understand there. So we already have our general formula, which is Tn is equals to what was that? Was it 3n plus 5? I think it was 3n plus 5, yes. So calculate how many blocks will be needed to make the 100th E. How many blocks? Yes, it's more like a
305.
we do. Yes, it's more like we do that. What is this? Is 300 plus 5 is 305. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who understands that question there. But honorable member is given an answer there. Do you guys agree with that answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then in that case, we can quickly move on to the next question, which says, calculate which E can be made from 116 blocks. Calculate which E can be made from 116 blocks. So it's more like they're asking what stand number it's going to have 116 blocks. What stand number is going to... So we already have our automatic formula. So be careful, guys. Be very careful of how these questions are asked. Normally, once you've calculated that automatic or the general formula, you are in most cases likely to be asked to calculate either n or tn. You just need to be careful of knowing what exactly do they want. So if you can easily notice that this question they actually want n, then you know the other one is going to be tn. If you don't understand that question, try to check the next question. For example, this is what I'm saying. We've answered 3.2.1. 3.2.2 have answered. But if 3.2.3, it's a bit tricky, don't answer it as yet. Go to 3.2.4, read that question. Then you will realize that when they say calculate which E can be made from 116 blocks. If you understand that question, if you understand they want n, it's obvious that this one, which is a bit confusing, they want you to calculate a Tn. I'm not sure if Lamlile or Denzi Denzel, do you get my point on that one?
Yes, sir. I understand you.
Yeah, so just in case if this question doesn't make sense, don't answer, just keep it and try to read this. Because what confuses, as far as this chapter is concerned, is not knowing whether they want Tn or they want n. So now that means in this case, you're going to have 116, which is equals to 3n plus 5. So the moment you know you're calculating n, you know you mustn't have a decimal, you mustn't have a fraction, you mustn't have a negative number. Once you get any of this, then you know you made a mistake somewhere. That's how you know if you've made a mistake. So let's see, this minus that, what will that be?
11.
I think it's 1 yes. So that means n is going to be, what is that? Divided by 3 divided by 3. What is that?
37. 37.
37.
37, yes. So that means stand number
Oh,
37,
37.
you're going to have so many blocks. So I hope that one make sense. Let's quickly move on to question number 4 and see if we can quickly work it out. And then from there, we start going to those complicated questions. But hopefully, you will understand when I explain those. So let's see. Question number 4. An interior decorator wants to decorate a bathroom, a bathroom wall with patterns of gray and white tiles as shown below. Okay. Let me maybe try to see if I can draw those tiles. I'll just draw something funny there. We have that, and then we have that, we have that, we have that, and then we have that, we have that, we have that, we have that. And then there we have that, 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 we have that. Those are the tiles that we are having there. Bantu Bagiti, even if they draw some nice sweets there, don't worry that much about the structure. Don't worry much about those. They're saying this is pattern number 1, pattern number 2, pattern number 3. You know this is step number 1, step number 2. So in step number 1, you have how many tiles? You have 4 tiles. In that step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have 7 tiles. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10 tiles. You know those can continue. What did I say? The format is the type, number 1. Number 2, it's either you get the difference or the ratio. Then number last, you go to questions. What type of a pattern is that? Let's see. That minus, I think, is 3. That I think is 3. So I think we are ready to go to questions, guys. I'm not sure. Are you guys ready for the questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let's see. We have 4.1, which says write down the number of tiles used in pattern 4 and pattern 5. So it's allocated 1 mark, which means you don't need to derive a formula. You know, you say this plus that, it gives you 7, plus 3, 10, plus 3, what will that be? I think it's going to be 13. Plus 3, it's going to be what? I think it's 16. So that means for 4.1 point that, you're just going to say, maybe you can say 13 and then you say 16. Or maybe pattern 4 is equals to 13 and then you say pattern 5 it's equals to 16, whichever way, as long as you provide those two values. I hope that was a pretty much a straightforward question. So let's see, 4.2. Remember, guys, I think it's going to be either during the week. No, not during the week, because during the week you'll be writing your physics. So that means this coming Saturday, that's when you'll be writing a test on number pattern. So just make sure that this lesson summarizes everything that you need to know, so that in case if you don't want to catch up all the lessons, this serves as a summarized lesson that you can watch before writing that test. I'm telling you guys, the tests that you're writing, it's what you'll come across in your examinations. So just make sure that you take them seriously, because I'm able to look at those and see your mistakes, and when we do corrections, I address those mistakes. Some of you guys might take this type of questions lightly, but I'm telling you, if you do, or it feels like you know these things, they are easy. When it comes to the questions, that's when you'll realize that you must never ever underestimate what you think you know or understand. There's always something new to learn in everything, which is what we are hoping to achieve, to make sure that either you learn something new, or myself also, I learn something new through you guys. So let's see, 4.2, determine the nth term. I think now it becomes easy, guys. We just know that every time when you see the nth term, or they use the general term, and they make noise to say Tn, they just want you to write a formula of Tn. It's equals to whatever, depending on the type of that. Yes, sis. We're no longer going to waste time. Honorable member said Dn plus C. I'm pretty much sure that Moleboheng is smiling there, knowingly that we won't waste time on this question, because we know that D is the difference, and we know the difference is 3. We just say 3n, and then we know that C, it's actually that minus the difference, which is what? Is it not 1? Yes, it's 1. Okay. Let's maybe try to test if indeed Hamisa and a friend are not playing tricks there. Let's see. Moleboheng, were you saying I should try to work it out this way?
It's okay. I've worked it already, but let's do it.
Okay. Let's see. So we know A is 4, that is that. So we're having 4 plus this by that by
3n.
that. We are having
Yes.
3n minus 3.
3
So 4 minus 3 is 1. So
is
that means
1
we're having 3n plus 1.
1.
Yes. The same thing. So can you guys see that you just quickly work it out that way, then you move on to the next question. Otherwise, you can still do it that way, but you might lose some few seconds. But it's fine, whichever way that works for you. Just use that particular method. Now, let's move on to the next question. So, can you guys see that they said we should calculate Tn? Now that we have that automatic formula, the next two questions, we are most likely to calculate n and again calculate Tn. So let's try to check how questions are asked, where they want us to calculate those. So let's not forget that Tn is equals to, what was it? Is 3n plus 1.
Plus
So
1.
let's move on to 4.3. Calculate how many tiles she will need for the 210th pattern. Okay. Calculate how many tiles she will need for the 200th. Okay. Let's see, maybe the next one. Calculate in which pattern there will be 100 tiles. Can you see? The 3.4, the 4.4 question, calculate in which pattern, there will be 100,000 that. So we can see this one, they want us to know in which pattern. Is it not n that they want us to calculate? In 4 and 4, I think it's n. Yes, it's n. But this one, calculate how many tiles she will need for the 200th pattern. So that means we are calculating t that. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me on that one. Here, I think I made a mistake. It has to be n. Yes. Calculate how many tiles she will need for the 200th pattern. So it's more like they're asking what will be the total number of people in stand number 200. So that means we're having that plus 1, which is what? This is 600 plus 1 is 601. Is this what you guys are getting?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Then, once you've got this correctly, then you can easily calculate that. Let me tell you guys a secret. You know, when you play chess, you tend to become more strategic. And I think one of the reasons that contributed to my thinking abilities was me playing chess. You know, when you play chess, you are able to calculate the risks involved. Molebogeng, let me discuss something with you. This
Yes,
question
sir.
is allocated 2 marks, and also this one is allocated 2 marks, isn't it?
Yes.
So, for me as a chess player, for this type of questions, there's no way I will get a 0, but an ordinary learner would get 0. You know why? Because they are going to think this question, they want you to calculate it this way. And then this next question, they will then calculate n. Sometimes, if a question is that much difficult and you are not sure but you are guessing, you stand a chance of losing both marks if you try to work this one that way and you do this one differently. You know what I'm going to do, Molebogeng? Not necessarily what I'm going to do, but what I used to do. For me not to lose everything, even for this question, I do it the same way. And then I calculate. Then I know there's no way. If this one is wrong, this one is to be correct. If this one is wrong, this one is to be correct. I won't lose both marks. I'm not sure if you understand the.
I understand. I understand.
So that's me not understanding the question, but I know one of those should be calculated this way. I don't care whether the markers are laughing because they noticed the strategy that I used. Oksalayo 2 nzoitola. So those are some of the tactics that I used to do. That's if I don't understand the question completely.
Okay.
But you guys are lucky because we have tried to simplify those questions. So you will stand a good chance of scoring maximum marks. But if you don't, then hey, I'm just thinking if I should say apply that, but you might need to be tricky when it comes. Molebogeng, no. If you get confused, I man, just give it a try. Just give it a try. We don't care whether they laugh or not. Only if you are not sure what exactly they want, and you know it has to be one of those two ways. I will show you also how I used to work out multiple type, multiple choice type of questions. There was a way also I used to work those out. Okay, I think now it's easier to do that question. Let's maybe move on to this other question. It's also question number 4. So let's see. Question number 4, 4.1. This one, it doesn't change, Bantubakiti. It doesn't change. Consider the quadratic pattern. So we are given the type, and they're saying it's a quadratic. Remember, guys, for a number pattern, you four stand numbers, just know it's in most cases a quadratic. The moment they give you only 3 stand numbers, it's either it's linear or geometric, because for you to determine whether a pattern is a quadratic, you need 4 stand numbers, not 3, unless if they give you 3, but they have to tell you that it's quadratic. Okay, let's see. Consider the quadratic pattern, which is that they say determine the value of T26. Before we even go to determine the value of T26, let's maybe follow the prescription. So they're saying the type, okay, we know it's quadratic. If it's quadratic, we know this is the formula, the general formula that we are most likely to use. Okay, now, is it the difference or the ratio that we find? Is the difference. That minus that, what is that? I think that is 2. That minus that is 3. That minus that is 4. That minus that is 1. That minus that is 1. Then we can go to the question. Question says determine the value of 26, which means they want to know the total number of people staying in stand number 26. And for you to know that, you need to have a general formula or that automatic formula. I'm just not sure of the right way to use for calling that, because it's a machine. That one, that's why I'm saying it's automatic, because you can use it to know total number of people staying in whatever stand number. So let's see. To determine that, we do know very well that you actually need to have your formula in that format, but you need to know the A value, the B value, and the C value. So that's why I was saying for you to do that, you only need those. And the formula that you should know by heart is 2A, which is equals to B, and also, what is it? Is it 3A plus B, which is equals to that? No, 2A is equals to that, being 1. That is equals to that, being 2. And then you have A plus B plus C, which is equals to that, being 3. Those are the formulas that you should know by. Okay, A is equals to 1 over 2, that we know. And then we're going to substitute it there to calculate B. And then we said B was equals to what? This is 2 minus 1.5. Then what is that? Is it half? What is 2 minus 1.5? Is it 3 over 2? I think it's 3 over 2. 2 minus 1.5. No, it's half. Hey, guys, what is the answer
Yes,
there?
it's half. It's half, say.
Yes, it's half. Then we're going to take that half. Then we know is this half here, which is half plus half plus c is equals to 3. Half plus half is 1. So it's more like you're saying 3. We have our automatic or general formula, which is A, it's half n squared, plus B, it's half n plus C, which is 2. Then we can easily calculate term number 26. which is half. Where we see n, we just put in 26. 26. So what is the total number of people staying in stand number 26? Hmm? Lichumile, are you still there, honorable member? Lihle,
Yes,
are you calculating that side?
Can I ask a question? What the one that you used, 3a plus b is equals to 2. You are saying that our b is half there.
3a plus b. Yes, this half comes from there. So what happens here? It's like a
the
train.
answer is C.
This helps us to move to there, and then that helps us to get to there. Do you get where that is coming from, Moleboheng? That half.
Yes, I do.
Carol,
Answer is 353.
what is it?
353. 353.
350. Hey, why is it like I don't trust that? Carol,
I
is that
don't
answer
understand.
correct?
Yes, sir, it's correct. Correct.
Pindi, which part, honorable member? You wanted me to explain something. Which one?
Where you got the half from?
Oh, this half. Remember that it's actually equals to 2a. So to get the a value, you obviously divide by 2 both sides, and then that cancels that. You end up with your a being equals to half. And then this half, you get it by saying, obviously, 3 times half, you get a value. What is 3 times half? I think it's 3 over 2. Then, because you want to calculate the b, then if you punch 2 minus 3 over 2, that's where you get that other half. I'm not sure if you get it now, the Tandos. No, I think it's Pindi who asked that question. Do you get it, Pindi?
Yes, yes, I do.
But wait, guys, is it everyone who understands what we have just done there? Minentle, are you sure you are not lost that side? I feel like you are not confident, Pindile. Usho ukuthi uyayithola lento le, Pindile. Let's see who's on the line. Lamlile.
Nje, kancane kakhulu mara like a little bit.
Ellen, is it Lamlile who's speaking? Lamlile Duma.
It's me, sir.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say, Lamlile. So remember, it could be that you've joined my lessons recently. So you probably missed some of the lessons where we started with this. So what I'm going to do, just make sure that at the end of this lesson, you send me an inbox and I'll give you a link. Otherwise, if you are in this classroom, 2023 tests and videos, this is where you find all the 2023 recorded lessons. Then you'll be able to find one where we started with this chapter of number pattern. I'm telling you, I can promise you now, if you can start catch upping from that lesson, you will be on the same page as everyone. If it happens that you still get confused or you have a specific question, then on our next lesson, I think when we do corrections, if you have some questions, just make sure that towards the end of the lesson you ask questions based on what confused you when you were catching up. You will notice that when you're dealing with any type of number pattern, we only have three: linear, quadratic, or geometric. It's only those three. And when you approach exam questions, you start by asking yourself, what is the type? Find the difference of the ratio, then you go to the questions. So here we know the type is a quadratic, and then we have done that by that, it is confirmed. Now that we know it's quadratic, then we know that there are formulas under quadratic. I think let me do these. So remember to mute your mic, honorable member. So under quadratic, you just need to know that number, and also that number, and lastly that number. Remember to mute your mic, honorable member. I can hear some popcorns popping in the background, and now I'm craving for popcorns. Lamlile, okay, so the value that is in there, it's equals to 2a. That is the formula. The value that is in there, it's equals to 3a plus b. The value that is in there, it's equals to a plus b plus c. Just take a screenshot of that. Then you know that whatever a value that you're going to get, you're going to substitute that a value there. Then you're going to calculate the b value. Then you'll be able to substitute that a value, which is that same a value. You're going to substitute that b value. Then you get that c value there. Once you get the c value, then you have your Tn, which is equals to whatever the a value, n squared, plus whatever the b value, n, plus whatever the c value. That's all that you need. This is the general formula. Then if the question said T208, wherever you see n, you substitute 208. Then you'll be knowing the total number of people staying in that stand number. Remember, guys, it's not at all the times where your a value is going to be a positive value, your b value can also be a negative value, also your c value. It all depends on the pattern that you were given. It also depends on those values if you were given those values. I hope that make some sense. So now let's move on to 4.2 and see how tricky questions may be. So let's see. Here they are saying a certain quadratic pattern has the following characteristics. They're not giving you a pattern, but they're giving you characteristics. T1 being a stand number 1, it's equals to P, and stand number 2 is equals to that. They're not giving us stand number 3, but they're giving us stand number 4, which is equals to that. This is where they say stand number that minus that, it gives you 10. And then now they say determine the value of P. Something that doesn't change is that one. What type of a quadratic? No. Hey, what am I saying? I'm already giving you guys an answer. What type of a number pattern is that? In the statement, they said a certain quadratic pattern has the following characteristics. So that means we know we are dealing with a quadratic. So that means we should try to derive the difference. Let's quickly try to work that out. Term number 1, it's P. What is term number 2? It's 18. What is term number 3? It's not given there. So maybe let's just keep it for now. What is term number 4. Can you see? Term number 4, they're saying is 4T1. What is T1? We know T1 is P. So that is why we're going to say 4P. Something interesting. They're saying term number 3, which is that one there that we don't know. When you minus it with term number 2, it gives you 10. So it's more like this term, when you minus it with that term, it gives you 10. And we know very well that for us to get to 18, we set this plus that, and then it gives us that. So to get to there, we say this plus that is going to give us that, which is what? That means it's 28 there. Guys, am I not confusing you there? Are you guys sure that I'm not confusing you there?
Yes, sir.
Mathapelo, o sure ya ra ko a ko tlhakatlhakantšhe mo? A se ko kwe Mathapelo. Mo Lebogeng, I
Yes,
see
sir.
you want to say something. Am I not tlhakatlhakantšheng you
Mistake.
there?
No, I understand. Akatla, katla.
Mzozozo, uthulile lapho i-KZN. Kwenze njani lapho?
Eastern Cape se no kuhamba kahle. I'm with you.
Oh yes, Eastern Cape. Kuhamba kahle lapho. Koketso, are you sure? Sisonke lana. Guys, just make sure, in case if you don't have an idea of what's going on there, just make sure that you raise your hand. Maybe let me quickly rewrite that. We said we're having that, and then we're also having 28 there. We also have 4P there. So remember, before we look at the questions, we need to do what is doable based on that format that we follow. We know that this minus that they said is 10. So let's complete the difference. Like we know the type, let's complete that difference. This minus that, then we're having 18 minus P. What about this minus that? What will that be? Is it not going to be 4P minus 28? So now let's see. We know that here, this is where we need to find the common difference. So that means this is where we're going to have 10. Molebogeng, I want you to notice something. This is what learners do to make mistakes. So they're going to say 10 minus 18 minus P. I'm not sure, Molebogeng, if you are able to notice why that is wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong because it's without brackets and you will have to multiply. So if it is open like this, we will not be able to multiply by a negative.
Yes. So that means you need to put that inside the brackets. Why do you do that? It's because it has two terms. Unlike 10 is just one term. So whether you put it inside the brackets or not, it doesn't change anything. But this one, it does. So now you are going to say this minus that. What are you having? You are having a 4P minus 28 minus 10. You tell me, Molebogeng, I did not put that inside the brackets. Is it dangerous? Is it dangerous what I've done there?
Yes, it is. I think you must still put brackets there.
So with this one, it's not really dangerous, but for the sake of maintaining the same standard throughout, we can also put it inside the bracket. The reason why is because you have an invisible one there, and you're going to multiply by that one. And when you multiply by one, it doesn't change anything.
Change.
It's only
Okay.
dangerous when you do it on this way.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much sure that everyone is able to know. But to be on the safe side, just apply that same principle that you understand. You say when you are having more than one term, always put it inside the brackets. So now, remember, what we want is to calculate the value of P. I'm sure you guys would agree with me that the whole of that, it's actually the same or equal to the whole of that, because we know this is the first difference. This one, it has to be the second common difference. So for it to be common, it means if it was 2 here, it was also going to be 2 there. That is why I'm saying this 2, it's either you say it is the same or it is equal. And when we say equal, it means this is equals to that. That is why I'm going to equate this to that. Why? Because it is the second common difference. So you can therefore say 10 minus into 18 minus P close, it's equals to, maybe let's say inside the brackets, that minus 10 there. So that means you're having 10, you have invisible 1 there. That by that, it makes it negative 18. And then that negative times negative, it makes it a positive. You're having an invisible 1 there. That by that, it doesn't change. It remains as that minus 10. So remember, this type of an equation is what we call a linear, because the unknown being letter P is to the power of that invisible 1. If you have a linear, you are only going to have one possible answer. So that is why I say when you're dealing with linear, you always want to have letters is equals to a number. So that means you want to have letters on the left, numbers on the... Okay, let's see. To have letters on the left, we have to take that to the other side so that you have P, that you minus it with 4P. Let's see. This is what we want to take to the... But what is that? I think this is negative 8. Yes. You take it to the other side where you work it out with what is negative 28 man. I think this is negative 38. Yes. So it's more like you're having negative 38 that you have to plus it with 8. Then you end up, what is this? I think this is negative 3p. Yes. And I think this is negative 30, guys. If you punch it on a calculator, it's going to give. So that means for you to remove that, you need to divide by exactly that so that it cancels out. Whatever that you do on the left, you do on the right. So that means p is actually equals to, what is that? That is 10. I think I was moving too fast there, and I'm already in Japan. Someone is still in Malawi. Thandi Mukwena, are you in Zim or are you with me in Japan? Lihle, are you still in
I'm
South
with you, sir.
Africa, honorable member? B Mufo, where are you? I see
Japan.
Denzel Denzel in Malawi.
Where
Denzel,
you
what are
trying
you
to
doing
get?
in Malawi, honorable member? Carol, wenzani Cameroon? Uzofika nini in Japan?
Here with you, sir.
Hayi, angikuthembi. Angikuthembi. Lichumile, ufunani Nigeria ndoda? Ufunani lapho? Mzozozo, hayi. Ngiyakwazi ukuthi sisonke lapha eJapan. Okay, so I can remove everything ne. So I can remove everything, then we move on to the last question ne.
Yes.
Okay. So I hope you guys are able to notice that we are actually doing the same thing, which is being asked differently. Let's quickly work out question. Remember, guys, today we are actually closing this chapter starting on Monday. That's when we'll be focusing on functions. And I want us to spend our time on functions until everyone understands the function. And Mzozo, you do know very well that it's highly impossible that um, we can make you to get distinctions. It's highly impossible. So what happens, Pantibakiti? Don't think because you are attending extra lessons and you're not missing any classes, you are attending at school, you're doing your homeworks and everything, that guarantees that you're going to pass and you're going to pass well. It doesn't work that way. But if you want to know if you're going to pass, ask yourself this question: yourself alone, how many mistakes have you made and how many have you corrected? That's how you're going to know if you're going to make it or not. So it doesn't mean because you understood everything that was explained, it doesn't mean because you understood everything that your teacher explained to you in class, then it means you're going to pass your exam. It doesn't work that way, Bantubakiti. It doesn't work that way. Even those who get 100% with maths or physics, they might not realize that what I'm saying, it's actually worth it for you to know. You might think maybe it's because they are genius or whatever. It's because they've done something that you might not be doing, and you might not be aware that that's what they are doing. No one is born knowing everything, but Dubagiti. It's all about how much do you know, and with whatever that you know, um, how much do you work on that? So that means if I've done a problem, a math problem, a meal, because we have done this question, don't say I know that question. We have done it in class. Redo that same question. Redo those questions that we have done. I'm telling you, it prepares you to something completely unique, because you'll be knowing that I've done this, it was asked this way, and I've done it this way. So if it comes and it comes differently, it might be, uh, combinations of uh, strategic questions which you've already dealt with, but in different questions. So that's what I've done, guys. I made sure that at my school I did a lot of. I don't think there's anyone who made more mistakes than I did when I was in high school. So I've learned from those mistakes. I've corrected those mistakes. So that is why I'm then able to approach any type of a question. And also, it doesn't mean because I understand maths and I can just answer every. There are some questions which are difficult and I need to refer to the memo. That is why I don't do a question without having a memo, because I know if you get hammered, you'll be discouraged to continue. I'm allergic to questions which doesn't have a memo. Same time, if I get hammered, I'll be hungry and I'll be thinking of making some food. So just make sure that you always have a memo, and whatever question that you do, you complete it. If you don't understand a question with a memo, I'm telling you, when you ask a question, it's going to be clear. You won't be one of those learners who say, solve this. Oh, hey, Molebogeng, there are those learners who say, solve this. What are we solving there, Molebogeng? What are we solving there? That's when you know that the learner is completely blank. And you know what I do? I run away. Hey, I run away. Okay, given the linear pattern 723, what type of a pattern is that? It's linear. How do we know it's given? Okay, that means we need the first common difference. Let's do that. What is that? I think, what is that? I think this is -5. Yes, -5. Someone is going to make a mistake and say 3 minus 2 because of that minus there. And they are going to get what? 3 minus 2 is 1. They're going to get 1. And then now you see someone in exam raising their hand, say, talking to invigilator. They say linear, but this is not linear. It happens, Bantu Bakit. So just make sure that in case if you come across such a question where you don't get what you're expecting, try to punch this as it is on a calculator. Say -3 minus that. I'm telling you, it's going to give you -5. Then you know you are ready to start answering the question. Okay, let's see. The first question, it says, determine the general term, Tn. Yes. Then we just say Tn is equals to, what have we learned, guys? We learned that this is Dn plus C. This is where it gets interesting, Retabil. I agree we've done that, but having positive difference. This is where it gets interesting. Obviously, you know that D is -5, N. But now, what is that minus that? What is 5 minus 7? Is it not, I think that is 2. Is it not 2? Hmm?
12.
Guys, don't say anything. Don't
It's
say
12.
anything. Don't say anything. I'm not sure how to ask this one. Okay. Yes. Okay, Pindi, what can you say about that?
You must like say 7 minus and then open bracket and -5, which is gonna give you like a 7 plus 5, which is 12.
Yes. So, I'm telling you guys, they say 3 minutes left, and this is the question that you're doing. Very quickly, you'll just say that minus that, and then it gives you that, and then you're done. So just be careful of negative. You should always remember that negative is like a hot pot. If you don't put on the gloves, it's going to burn you. So that's where you get a bent, or how you get bent. So it gives you what? That is a positive 12. So now we have that general formula. So let's see. The next question, it's now easier. They say calculate T20. So can you see? This one is straightforward. In place of n, they put 20. So that means also where you see n, you're going to put 20. So this is where we see n. What is 20? What is that? This is 100. So it's like you're having -100 plus 12. What is that? I think it's negative, is it 88? I think it's 88.
Yes, it's -88.
Yes, it's -88. Hey, Koketso, in this lesson, ngiziyenza incondo. Yabona, I don't have a calculator, but I'm able to somehow quickly work out this problem. So let's see. I think that was a straightforward question. Remember, guys, what we are doing, it's a repetition of what we have done, but most importantly, it's not about how to answer questions, guys. It's all about how to approach a certain type of questions. We're just testing if what we discovered is applicable. Then we are completely wrapping this chapter. Let's see. The last question, it says, which term in the pattern has the value of negative that? This is what I want to explain, Molebogeng, to say, based on what we discovered, there is no way this could be n. There's no way this could be a Stern number. So that means someone will realize that if a question comes in this format or in this manner, where they say which term in the number pattern has a value of that, you already know that it's actually n that they want you to calculate. So what I'm saying is this cannot be n because of it having a negative value there. Yes, that's what I actually wanted to explain. This cannot be n, but it can be a tn. So what did we say the tn was? We said tn was, what was it? What was it, guys? The difference is -5. Yes, tn we said is -5 plus 12. That was the general formula. Yes. So I was thinking about this during the day. Yebo. Molebogeng, wena o mopedi a ke tse gore mothola ba mmitša ka gae yena gore she, was that a she or was that a say?
It was not me.
Okay, so let's see. Here, okay, this is what I was saying, guys. I was saying if maybe you are given, let's say, -5, -10, I'm just giving an example, -15, and we were talking about the total number of people staying in there, and now we're having a negative suddenly. This is how you can create a story. You can say, obviously, you know that we have a block which is Stern number 1, Stern number 2, Stern number 3. Obviously, in between is going to be a road, and then you're going to have stands. So your story, Mulebogeng, it could be that when you have a positive pattern, it's like is the stance above. But when you have negative, we're actually talking about the stance on the other side of the road. So that means it's actually 5 people staying in this Stern number, which is on this side of the road, just to make the story valid on every type of a number pattern. So let's see. No, we won't need that. So now it means we have this number of people staying in that stand number that we want to know what that stand number is. So I'm sure you guys have already calculated that. It goes to the other side, it's 140, 150. I think it's -150, which is equals to that. Then you need to divide by -5. By -5, that cancels that. What is that into that? That will give you a positive Stern number. Is it 75?
30.
It can't be 75. It's too big. It's 30. So that means in Stern number 30, that's where you have this number of people staying in there. And that Stern number is on the other side of the road. That's how you can interpret it. So that was a straightforward question also. That's why it's allocated 2 marks. And I think this question, it's a grade either 11 or 12 type of a question, but you can still understand it in any grade, because this chapter is so easy such that you can expect anything in any grade. So just make sure that you learn all the possible tricks that you can apply to this type of question. So let's move on to 3 point that, where you are given that in a form of letters. It's not even given in that format. So they're just saying that, and that are the first 3 terms of a linear. Okay, now we know we are dealing with a linear. The question says calculate the x value, or the value of x. But we know the type, then let's do that being the difference. So that means if it's linear, we know we need to have a common difference. So can you see here, we can decide to put that inside the brackets or not. And then you do the same there. So let's maybe put everything inside the brackets just to be safe. 2x plus 1. So what you need to remember is that under this type, this is where you have the whole of that being the same or equals to the whole of that. Just always remember that. I'm telling you, Bantu Bagiti, if a question comes in exam where it has letters and numbers, you are most likely to be asked to calculate the value of that letter. And you just need to remember that you need to know the type. Once you've known the type, do the difference or the ratio. Once you've done that, then you can go to the question. But firstly, knowing that under this type of a sequence, you are having whatever that you are having there. So now, let's see. You have invisible 1 there, you end up having that plus that minus that. Invisible 1 there, you are having that minus that. Invisible 1, but here it's a negative 1. Then you say that by that is negative 2x, that by that it makes it negative 1. So can you see it's a linear? Then it means you need to have letters one side, numbers one side. I remember last year I used to sing this song, Bantu Bagiti. Tabarala one side, Maluleka one side, Baloi one side, who else? Pindi one side, whatever one side. I was singing this song for, I think it was Shriyas. I had a learner called Shriyas. So Lerato doesn't know this song, but what this song simply means is that you want to always have letters one side, numbers one side. So what letter are we dealing with there? This is letter X, Bantubaki. It is not X for maths. It's letter X. So in high school, you study letter X and Y. When you get to varsity, that's where they introduce a Z, which is these two, they give you the coordinate, and this one, it gives you the height. You will understand that when you get to, okay, so let's see. Let us one side, okay, before we even do that, can you guys see 3 minus that? It's actually 1x. What about those two? I think they give you negative that. Here you have, I think that one, it gives you that. I'm just doing what you've done. Remember, guys, if you hear me talking about something else, just know I'm giving you an opportunity to work it out from your side. So I know you took this to the other side and you said 2 minus x, it gives you x. You take this to the, what is it? I think it gives you, what is that? Is it 1? I think it's 1 because it's positive 5 minus 4, it gives. So it's more like x is equals to 1. This is what I'm getting, guys. Are you getting the same answer?
Yes, sir.
Minentle, are you getting the same answer, honorable member?
Sir.
I think also that one, it was a straight forward question. Quickly, we wrap up the last question, which is question number 4. Let's see. Question number 4. This is the quadratic number pattern. We're having 4p, but mo lebogeng, does it make some sense, nyana, this chapter, Mara, up to this point?
No, it does. It does.
There's a light, ne?
It does.
So
now there is.
Here they're saying the quadratic number pattern, which is that has a constant second difference of 1. I'm telling you, someone won't take into consideration that second, and it's going to be a problem. But let's see, what type of a number pattern is that? It's quadratic. Okay, now that is quadratic, that means we need to do the difference. Let's quickly do that. So that means is that minus that. That is p minus 4. And then that minus that, it's 11. Let me write it nicely. It's 11 minus P, that minus that, it's actually Q minus 11, that minus that is 22 minus Q. And they said it has a constant second difference of 1. So that means those will actually give you 1. So they say show that P is equals to 7 and Q is equals to 16. So if they say 10 minutes remaining, I'm telling you, I might not stress that much about trying to show because it's just 3 marks. I might quickly move on to 4.3 and try to score those big marks. If I still have some time, I'll then come back to question number 3. So those are some of the tactics that you might apply. That's if you're running out of time and you realize, what is it? You realize there are some questions which have some, which are allocated big marks. And also something very much, because it's in most cases where you guys cry about not writing everything. This is what I used to do. If I'm doing question 1, or maybe before I even do that, I used to know that every time when I write exam, I'm going to start with, let's say, solve for X, followed by number pattern, followed by maybe, let's say, financial maths, then functions, then whatever. Because you can start with whatever question. I know which ones are easy. Those are the ones that I start with. But as I answer the questions, if, for example, I'm not following the format of the question paper, do this with a pencil, write. What was that? The coolest. What did I say last year? I think I said write easy and then write long and then write complicated or maybe complex. Then this is what you do, Tandy. In case if there's a question, for example, let's say simultaneous equation, you know it is not difficult, but you realize that, hey, this one is long. Maybe just write it under long and say 2.1. And then you skip it, you work out other questions, whatever. Then you realize, hey, there's another question under finance that is maybe 5.2.1. It's complicated. Write it under complicated. Hey, there's another one which is easy, but hey, you need to remember something. Maybe it's that one of SATs, which could be 1.2. Write it under easy. I'm telling you, Pindi, when they say 30 minutes left, you will see learners trying to, they're saying 15 minutes left. This is you trying to check which question did you not answer. Hey, this question, hey, then you come across 5.2.3. Just as you realize you didn't, then you try to work that out. When they say 3 minutes left, you realize there's that easy question. Now you're holding your head and say, yes. They say, now close your whatever. Then you remember, there's that one, you know it's easy, but it's long. So for you to avoid all of that, just make sure that you have this thing written with your pencil. Then once you've answered everything that you can, then you know where to start. You start by going for 1.1. That's the question that you do after you've written everything that you're confident with. Then once you're done with 1.1, you go to this one. Then you know when they say time up, kuyafana, you didn't even know ukuthi kwenzenjani or kwenzakalani lapha. At least you've written that, even if you don't score full marks, but something uzoyithola. Also there, you know simultaneous equation is just long, it's not complicated. You will get something there. So I only learned this strategy when I was at varsity. I didn't need it when I was in high school because there I was a machine, Bantu Bagiti. I didn't know this thing. That's what I'm saying. even if you try to be a friend with a genius, they might not tell you all of this because to them it's not necessary. And they also don't think it's necessary for you to know. Then you end up feeling like, hey, labantu la bayasifihlela basitshela ukuthi bathandaza njani. Kanti ne, they are not tandazing bantu bakithi. They are practicing. When you wake up at 12 o'clock and pray, that's when they'll be busy solving there. You pray, but you must also study. Those two go hand in hand. If you pray harder, also study harder, bantu bakithi. Don't pray harder and study less. Asifuna ukuhlupha uNkulunkulu. Let's work bantu bakithi. So let's see. 4.1 to show that. Let's see. I think we said we know very well that you can either say this plus that is equals to that, or this minus that is equals to that. Whichever way you work it out, you will still find the correct answer. So I'm not going to work out that one. We've already done it, but I just want you to be aware that it can be done in two ways. You can either say this being p minus 4 plus 1 is equals to 11 minus p. Or you can say this minus that, it gives you that, which is what? This is where you now need to put it inside the brackets. That, what is it? That minus that, it's equals to that. So you might realize that it's safer to work it out this way because you don't stand a chance of missing that part of the negative. So it is necessary to show you both ways because a question might come such that you need to apply this method to get correctly, or you need to apply that method to get it correctly. So that is why you shouldn't be comfortable by knowing one way of working out that. So we are just going to make an assumption that we did prove that that is that and that is that. Then we're going to move on to the next question, which says, determine the general term Tn of the quadratic pattern. You can see that these questions, they actually repeat, Bantu Bakiti. Let's see. That is 7. And then that is what? That is 16. Then if this is 7, 7 minus 4, what is that? That is 3. You will notice that I won't bother myself to substitute there, and there. Why? Because to determine Tn, I just need that. I'm not sure who was that honorable member who was saying they understand but kancane. So this is another question under quadratic. You need to remember that this is equals to 2a, it's equals to 1. And then you have 3a plus b, which is equals to 3. You also have a plus b plus c, it's equals to what? 4. Same thing, Bantu Bakiti. Same thing. Same thing, but asked differently. So you are having a, which is equals to 1 over 2. You take that 1 over 2, substitute it there. You're going to have that plus b, which is equals to 3. Why is it like we're doing the same question? Did we do? No. We did this question the previous time, but it feels like it's the same question that we've done in this same lesson. Okay, maybe it's because of those. Okay, what is that? I think that is 1 and what is that? This is 1.5. What is 3 minus 1.5? 3 minus 1.5. That is 1.5 most. Like thanks, sure. Let's see. A is half plus b being 1.5 plus c is equals to 4. What is 1.5 plus half? That is 2. So it's more like you're having 2 minus 4. What is 2 minus 4? Is it not 2? That is 2. Then it's easy now. You have your A, you have your B, you have your C. Then you just give Tn, which is A being that n squared plus your B. What is your B? It's 3 over 2n. What is your C? Your C is 2. Oh, no. Pindi, now I see why I feel like we just did this question. It's because this is a question that we did yesterday. And it is for that reason why I won't continue with this question, but I will say its lesson is recorded and it will be posted on Monday together with today and tomorrow's lesson. So the same principle that I applied on the previous question will also be applicable to this question. The next question, they are saying determine the value of n if Tn is equals to 323. So can you see, this one is straightforward. Tn is 232. Then you just need to factorize that. You are going to get two possible values of n. Then you need to choose between those two. Hamisa will tell you that the moment you start getting a fraction as an answer, or a decimal, or a negative value, that one is not applicable. But the moment you have just a normal number like 2, 1, 3, or 4, whatever, that's where you will realize that this type of numbers, they have names. You'll hear someone saying real numbers, non-real numbers, rational numbers, or whatever. So numbers starting from 1, 2, 3, going up to infinity. What do we call those numbers? Anyone who still remember? Hey, why is it like the congregation is gone? Let me check. Ngathi libandla lakaNkulunkulu libalekile. Okay, sasekhona. Okay. It could be that you forgot, but whatever number that you get which falls in that category, you know it is your possible answer. And then the final question, which was a complicated question, it's easily explained on yesterday's lesson. So I think now I'm going to conclude this lesson. It seems like it took long. Luckily, it's weekend. At least we've covered all that you guys needed to be aware of. So tomorrow, it's going to be a lesson for grade 12s only. That's where we'll be looking at the series. We're also going to be doing an intro and also exam questions. So we just do intro, exam questions. We do few of those. It's easier because you understand the patterns. The series are house numbers separated by a plus. That's how you know it's a series. It's as easy as that. Whereas a pattern, it's a stand number separated by this thing. I think it's semicolon. That is the difference between a number pattern and series. So those which are separated by that are what we call the pattern. If you don't want to say pattern, you can say a sequence. And then the one separated by a sign of a plus are what we call the series. You will see how complicated series may be, but they are not really that much complicated. Then next week, Saturday, that's when you guys will be writing a test on number pattern, sequence, and series. But starting from Monday, we start with functions. So if you are in grade 11, if you are in grade 12, and you are not confident with functions, please join Monday's lesson where I'm going to be doing specifically grade 10 functions. Those functions build up to what you guys say is complicated. So it's up to you whether to say it's a grade 10 a grade 10 lesson, it's easy, you've done that, you've passed that. But my advice is make sure not to miss that lesson. everything is going to make sense when we do complicated questions, because you'll be knowing all that you need to know. So, Mzozozo, do you allow me to sign out, honorable member? I know if I ask someone, they won't allow me.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Yes, sir.
Hey, ngiyabonga bantu bakithi. Guys, as always, my name is Desmond, and I thank you very much for joining. You guys have a very good night, and I'm out.